Hi, Gavin.
Hi, Zeeshan. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well, very well. Busy day, but it's always a busy day.
That's good. As I say, it looks like you're sitting somewhere outside in the sunshine.
Well, I've just excused myself from the office, so I'm actually sat slightly less salubrious than you would think. It's actually between some buildings, but it looks quite park-like. So
Well, that's good. I mean, I'm sitting in my home office at the moment, as you can see my cupboard behind me, so we're all good. Awesome, cool. Look, thank you so much for taking the time out to have a chat with me. This won't take too much of your time, and
no problem.
As we said, really excited to speak to you. So let's just go straight into it if you're okay with that.
Yeah,
cool.
Absolutely.
So tell me, what is it that you do? Tell us a little bit about your company. I'm sure everyone's really excited to find out.
Called a LawTech consultancy.
Right.
So this is a firm that looks at law and technology solutions to help lawyers, but not only lawyers, professional services firms more generally. It came out of, I suppose, some product from my own experience. I'm a qualified lawyer. I do a lot of litigation. I still do a little bit of independent sort of legal consulting work. But what I discovered, and this goes back to my own background before that, I'm actually a qualified engineer. And I hold a PhD in chemistry as well. Just
you're just showing off now.
I know. Just adding to the mix of randomness that I've done in the past. But what struck me is that law it's a very funny business. It's a very intellectual pursuit, of course.
Yes.
It's a very serious pursuit, and people can.
Oh, we've lost you. Shows the authenticity that we have here today.
Yeah, it's all life, sort of. So what struck me was that the way lawyers practice law is or hasn't changed in a couple of 100 years.
Yeah.
You know, if you take the pen and paper out of a lawyer's hand and give them quill and parchment, it's the same as it's always been. And it struck me that there's a better way. Lawyers are very keen to evolve, very keen to adapt, very keen to understand new technology. They have to. It's part of their practice. They need to know how things work and what they do and how it sits with the law. But there's a very slow uptake, very slow deployment of law, of technology in law to help lawyers, improve how they do what they do.
Right.
You shouldn't have to. It's quite a typical example. You shouldn't have to, produce a Word document, reprint it 20 times just to get to the final Word version.
Reminds me of my mortgage.
It's utterly uncalled for, and you can digitize so much of this, and that's just one example. But really helping lawyers and other professional services embrace technology, but use it properly, and that's the key.
That's really interesting. I mean, I've been into digital for a long time, and I love what you're doing, and that's why I wanted to speak to you to find out how you're actually sort of changing this amazing old school traditional sort of industry, and you're obviously doing a really good job. So
thank you.
What inspired you to become a CEO of an organization?
This is where you get straight into the selfish category.
Good, that's what we like.
For my mind, it was all about developing my own business, developing my own way of doing things. Sort of way, my own style, my own processes around thinking and solving problems, and that's why I wanted to start my own business and imprint or stamp my own. I don't know, my own authority. That sounds too much, but to really help where I think I could help other people do things better.
Yeah.
And I'm always reminded whenever I start a project and you start asking questions. This is where it gets interesting, and you say, okay, why do you do that? Why do you do this the way that you do it? And so often, and too often perhaps, you'll get the answer because that's how it's always been done.
Right.
That's utterly unacceptable. Surely, just because that's the way it's always been done does not mean it's the best way. Does not mean it's the way it should be done. And so, getting over that sort of internal inertia and
I love live recordings.
it's going to help people. And that's what I'm trying to do, help the individual.
Excellent. Cool. You cut out a little bit there, but we got the gist of what you were saying. That's okay. So that's cool. I mean, I love it. It's like, you know, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And that's the mentality that, you know, a lot of these industries have been going through, and law is probably one of the best examples of that. And here you are sort of driving forward and moving that along. That's great. So when I mean, to become a CEO takes inspiration, takes a lot of work, motivation. What is it that, who is it rather, that inspires you? Who are your mentors, and who do you sort of look up and go, that's where I want to be? Or maybe that's where you are now.
No, that's a really good question. I think there's a lot of people out there with good ideas, and it takes a little bit of a push, a bit of a nudge to help you move in the right direction. So you have to look around and say, oh, okay, who else has done something similar? Maybe not in the same area, maybe not law, maybe not professional services, but who else has made a difference? Who else has changed how we do things, how we understand things, how we work, how we live, how we play? And for me, it perhaps gets a little bit trite, but people like Steve Jobs, people like Elon Musk,
absolutely,
these are great disruptors. They're great alternative thinkers as well. And when they look at a problem, they see a different way of tackling that problem, a different way of understanding really what the fundamentals are. And it's not about disruption so much as just revealing what we should already be doing. I know it sounds an odd thing to say, but you look at Elon Musk, and he looked at space. Of course, he had success with PayPal and various things before that. But he looked at space travel and thought, well, we can do better than this. It shouldn't cost 100
billions.
Well, absolutely, with development and so on. But I think per flight, the space shuttle cost $100 million, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And now SpaceX can do the same thing for about a third of that, if I remember correctly. So like $30 million. Well, that's brilliant, surely.
Yeah,
it's brilliant. It's hard. It's hard work. You know, Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, these are very tough people. I recently read their biographies, a couple of biographies. You know, are they easy to get on with? Probably not. Are they difficult? Are they challenging? Do they probably swear at you a lot? Yes, absolutely. But they are successful. They made a significant difference. As Steve Jobs would say, you know, put a dent in the universe. And he certainly has, and Musk certainly has. And there are many others. But those are two that sort of leaps of mind.
No, that's definitely a good answer, I'd say. I mean, and it's going to be something that a lot of people will resonate with as well, because they're people that have made such a big impact on our lives, both socially, personally, privately, and in the business world. I mean, I'm sitting here doing an interview with you on an Apple MacBook. And where did that come from? Here we are.
Yeah,
nice.
absolutely.
I mean, all of these guys, they have something special, don't they? They all have something that you say they have that thing and that person has that thing. What's your special formula that you have that makes you successful, or that has made you successful? I should say that you have been really successful in that.
Well, thank you very much. I would say that there isn't a special formula. It's about you, and in some ways being true to yourself, understanding what drives you. And I see, it's a good question, because there are so many self-help books out there. So you can go and read a book, 10 habits of successful people, 3 things they eat for breakfast, and 5 things they do on the phone every day. It's like this.
Oh, bit of lost connection again. Hopefully he'll be back in a second.
So what I would say is, okay, read some self-help books if you want to. I shouldn't disparage the self-help, book writing world. But
is any authors listening? He reads all.
Yeah, sorry, I've read them all. But it's all very personal, and you can't really just go and copy somebody else and assume success is given. Right. No, but there are some traits that I think you do need. Starting a business is difficult, without a doubt. You're going to go into potential clients, and you're going to try and get them to buy what you're selling. That's not easy. People don't like spending money, or you won't be talking to the right people in the room who are able to spend money.
Indeed.
So you have to be true to yourself, for one thing. it's a bit of a truism, but you have to be true to yourself. You have to be resilient, and perseverance is key. You have to be able to take a rejection. You have to be prepared to fail. But you persevere, you pick yourself up and carry on, learn from whatever experience you just had. Okay, what went well, what went wrong? Can I help myself in the next time I'm in that situation? So perseverance, pick yourself up, be determined.
Yeah, so the special formula is you.
You are. I would say also, you exactly. You are. You are the one constant in your life, that you are the same thing. And you need to recognize that.
Brilliant.
And it's not about trying to be somebody else or like somebody else. It's about realizing who you are and what drives you, what motivates you, what your ambitions, what your particular special recipe is, whatever you want to say. But it's certainly a much more personal thing than a self-help book might.
No, I would definitely agree. I mean, you talked about motivations and things like that, and that sort of leads into my next thought quite quickly. It's 2019. We're sort of halfway through the year now, and I mean, I'm a qualified life coach from a long time ago, and I used to talk to people about, you need to set a goal, have an objective, be that one thing. What's your one goal for 2019?
That's a good question. What I suppose I should preface that. What I try and do, sort of getting towards the end of the year, and I look forward and say, okay, from the list of stuff I had or wanted to achieve this year, what have I done? What have I not done? Or what's changed? That's very important. But try and set some very not hard goals as such, but some a target list, things I'd want to achieve. So with that in mind, this year has been a little bit of an evolution. I started the year, I was developing several different projects. Develop the partnerships that I needed to deliver those solutions. So I've done some of those, which is great. Some remain outstanding. But it's a long process because it's very difficult to do these things alone. Some of the projects I've done are actually quite significant and require a lot of varied expertise to do. So building the right partnerships, that's my goal for this year. And I'm touch wood, I'm getting there with them. And it's
good.
Developing those right collaborations. So that's my goal.
Excellent. No, that's good. That's definitely a good one. And obviously you're a very busy man. You've built this firm, you're working full time, all this sort of stuff, and getting cracking on. What's on your reading list? When you're saying, I need something to read, I need to kick back. What is it that you go to and go, this is a book that I'm going to read?
That's good. I keep an Amazon list. I think everybody probably keeps an Amazon list.
I think we all do.
Things I'll read when I get around to it and have time. So, this year I mentioned earlier, I've read the Steve Jobs biography. I subsequently read the one on Elon Musk as well. So that was great. At the moment, I'm just starting. I have to remember what it's called. Thinking Fast and Slow. No, it's not. That's what it's called.
Oh yeah.
So it's all about alternative thinking. So thinking in different ways. So Bayesian thinking, all this kind of stuff, which is very interesting. And I suppose one of the things I try and do is I try and identify where I feel I need to know something more. So do I need to know a little bit more about economics or finance or philosophy? Again, it's all about a way of thinking. But anything
expanding your mind.
Absolutely. Anything that will challenge how you think and how you perceive what the norms will be.
It's gone again.
Jobs.
You're back.
Certainly reading about sort of Steve Jobs and Elon Musk and their experiences, certainly through the eyes of an independent biographer. That's quite eye-opening because they perhaps say more than they should, and I think you get a deeper insight into them and how they think. So
no, definitely.
Anything that challenges thinking is always good.
Yeah, I think the concept of sort of reading about these sort of big super CEOs that run around the globe and make changes, and we're talking about books, and quite often we always read about the habits that these ultra successful people have, and one that always sticks out with me is I wear the same T-shirt and the same jeans and the same shoes every day, 7 days a week, and I'm always thinking, like, it doesn't take that much brain power for me to go, I'm going to put on this linen shirt today. Obviously, I haven't ironed it, which is really classy, for an interview that I'm running. But like tomorrow, I don't have this same shirt that I'm going to wear tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you do? Is that how
Oh,
you're
my
successful?
goodness
Because
me.
you wear the same outfit every single day?
Oh my goodness me, no. I've heard about this before, and I think historically, I think it started with Einstein, maybe some before him, but
Maybe.
I think his view was that he didn't want to expend any unnecessary mental energy.
That's the one.
Because he was thinking, he sits around and he thinks all day, and it's hard work, complex physics and so on. So he just wanted to wake up, didn't want to think about what he was putting on because it was already predetermined, and he'd put it on and go about his day.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that simple. I mean, if you're Einstein, fine. And probably if you're Einstein, you can get away with it.
Probably.
I think I think for the mere mortals among us, we need to be a little bit more mindful about what we are wearing, and aware that people make judgments. And
absolutely,
you know, if you're gonna just rock up to an interview or a presentation or a client pitch, and you've got the black turtleneck on, you've got the blue jeans on and the New Balance trainers, you're not Steve Jobs. They're going to look at you and say, "You're not Steve Jobs. Who do you think you are?"
Exactly.
They're not going to take you seriously. If you're talking to a room of, I don't know, professionals, so maybe you're looking for investment. No, these are people with serious people with serious amounts of money.
Yeah.
They're looking for a serious person, not a joker. And that reminds me, if you've ever seen, what's the film? The Facebook film.
Yep. Social Network.
The Social Network. That's the one. And I remember there's a scene in there, and it's the Napster chap sends in Zuckerberg, the actor playing Zuckerberg, into a meeting, and he's dressed in pajamas and his dressing gown. And now they did that for a reason. It was a stunt and so on. But you're not going to convince anybody if you turn up, if you don't take it seriously, if you don't look like you're serious. So I try and keep in mind, okay, what am I doing today? Who am I meeting? And who do I need to present myself to? So if I'm going to be meeting professionals and it's shirt tie suit day, then it's a shirt tie suit day. If it's a little bit more casual, I'm not disparaging the tech world, but tech world tends to be a little bit more casual. It'll be maybe it'll be a polo neck and a jacket or whatever. But I'm trying to target my audience because I'm trying, I suppose, it sounds a little manipulative is too strong a word, but you're trying to present yourself to an audience that you're one of them, that they can trust you, that you're not, if you're in front of tech people, you're not a suit, you're not part of the.
You're building rapport.
Precisely, yeah, that's exactly it. You're trying to build rapport, and you're trying to pitch yourself to an audience correctly. And it's important. It's important that you build that bridge, you build that connection.
I get it. I mean, I've been in marketing for like 20 odd years, and people look at me and they're like, "You're wearing jeans and t-shirt and a pair of trainers today." I'm like, I sit at my laptop and I talk about ads, I talk about data, I talk about spreadsheets and this sort of stuff. And they're like, "What about when you're in front of clients?" And it's interesting because when I went to speak to some law firms previously, I had to wear a suit, otherwise I'm not allowed in the building. And I was like, wow, okay, that's cool. I can do that, no worries. I actually got turned away once, which was fantastic.
Wow.
And I was like, no worries, I'll go buy a suit jacket, because they were like, you can't have a t-shirt with any sort of logos on. I was like, okay, fine, I kind of get that, no worries. It was a law firm, actually. Within my industry, that sort of ties in with the creative thinking side of things, Go sit in that area. So your creative is your thinking area, it's your thinking space, like Google has. Google rave about. You've got slides going down from one floor to another. You've got like sofas and whatever else they've got sort of dotted around. How do you encourage creative thinking in your business, being in sort of the industry that you're in, the law industry, which, as you said, is quite sort of, people are expected to be dressed in a certain way, you act in a certain way. How do you encourage creative thinking within your organization?
That's a good question. I think creativity can come from a number of places. It may come from just inspiration. You're walking on the street, you see something, you think, oh, hold on, that's great. Or it comes from conflict, a disagreement with somebody. and that drives the finding of solutions. I think you've got to look at it in a number of ways, and I think challenge yourself. What is it that you're thinking about? What are you reading about? What things are driving inspiration within yourself? So challenging yourself, I think that helps be creative. It's, again, making you think in a different way. Challenging others is always a good one. It sounds silly, but it's asking the simple question. You're not trying to trip them up, but you're trying to encourage them to think about what it is they're talking about. Now, I would caveat that by saying, make sure you actually know what you're talking about. Don't just throw a grenade in there and run away. That's not very helpful. So challenge yourself, challenging others. Things that I try and do personally to, I suppose, inspire myself or drive creativity is that I try and meet people. It doesn't necessarily matter who they are. It could be clients, prospective clients, could be acquaintances, people I've connected on LinkedIn with, whoever, and just have a conversation, because you never know what will come out of that conversation. You never really know, what is it they want, what are their needs, what are they looking for, and vice versa. Is there any opportunities within them? But I was actually speaking about that. It's quite a good. Recently, I met. As a final year student at UCL, and he just wanted to chat about technology, particular blockchain and issues around legal issues around blockchain. I said, yeah, of course, let's go meet. So we met, had a coffee, and we were talking about something. And about halfway through that conversation, I had a moment of insight about particular solutions in.
Gone again. Hopefully you'll come back in a sec, Gavin. Oh, there you are. You're back.
So what was I saying? So yeah, just out of a conversation, an impromptu conversation with a graduate student, I'm now pursuing a potential project.
Excellent.
You just don't know, or be open to meeting people, and just ask people if there's somebody you want to meet. And I know this is sort of a standard piece of advice, but you connect with somebody on LinkedIn, just say, I'm in your area. Do you want to meet for coffee? Can we have a chat? It doesn't have to be long, 10, 15 minutes, whatever. But do it. You never know. You never know where that moment of inspiration, that moment of creativity will come.
Yeah, I mean, inspiration is an interesting topic, and creativity. And that actually very comfortably leads me on to my very last question before I allow you to go back to your busy schedule.
Thank you.
Kids, children, like when we talk to kids, you say, what do you want to be? I'm not going to ask you what you wanted to be when you were a kid.
That's a long story. That one.
Maybe for the next interview. But for children that want to be leaders, that want to be CEO, they sit at home and they're looking at their iPhone and going, I want to be Steve Jobs when I grow up.
What
advice as a successful leader in your industry, driving things forward? If there was one thing that you could say to the kids, do this, what would it be?
One thing. That's a tough question, because everybody's different.
Yeah.
What I can trot out some truisms. Don't be afraid to fail. Things like that. Pick yourself up and carry on. Yeah. I think that's a bit simplistic. I think it's using that fear of failure to drive yourself forward. And use that energy.
Yeah.
Think harder, think longer. Don't make a snap decision if you don't need to. Just but persevere. And that's important. Being resilient. You've got to remember that in business, it's a funny thing to say. You only have to be successful once.
That's
true.
Yeah.
You can fail as many times as you like, but you only have to be successful once to be a inverted commas successful business person. But you do that by persevering. By not giving up, by being determined, but try and keep an open mind. Don't close yourself off to possibilities, and opportunities as well. And I even when I started aGenium, what it was originally was around sort of very, I suppose, a very simplistic idea.
You've paused again. Been some great freeze frames of you. Okay.
So yeah, even when I'd started aGenium around this idea about helping law firms and consulting around deploying better technology, that's since grown itself into technology solutions that will stand in their own right and be developed in their own right. So, don't be afraid of that change and that development as well.
Yeah,
that's probably not one thing. That's probably about 10 things.
That's okay.
To think
That's
about.
all right.
But it's it all comes from yourself and your own determination and ambition.
Excellent, Gavin. It's been really lovely speaking to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Zeeshan.
If people want to get in touch with you, how should they find you?
Through my website would probably be the best way. We have a contact page, and for my sins, I do see all the traffic that comes in, so don't be afraid. aGenium.co.uk. Yeah, please get in touch.
I'll take the links and everything. I'll stick them downstairs in the little description section. Gavin, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. It's been fantastic speaking to you, and good luck with everything, and I'll speak to you soon.
Catch up soon. Take care.
Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.